Okay, I've put the sump on. Obviously, I've put the I've mounted the engine onto an engine stand. I just did it sideways rather than on the end. This way I can fit the flywheel, and I use the side mounting bracket location with a big aluminium plate. What I'm going to do now is I'll fit the flywheel. There is a mark, or there should be a mark up in this area, up here I think, that will line up with the mark on the flywheel and at top dead center, and then I'll put the front cover on and the pulley, and check that the mark on the pulley matches where it matches on the toothed piece on the front cover. So everything will, and I'll mark with some ink, top dead center on the flywheel, top dead center on here, and actual measure top dead center using the dial indicator, so I can watch it roll over, so I get my zero top dead center exactly right, and then I can continue on with putting the head on, putting the timing gear, all of that sort of thing. And I'll put some studs in here, and that will help locate the engine to the gearbox with a couple of guide studs. Yeah, we're getting there. I had the flywheel machine balanced. There was only one drill hole in the front where they so it must have been pretty close to being in balance, and the pressure plate as well just needed a tiny bit of machining on the outer part of it. If that comes up in the video, I'll point that out. So the whole rotating assembly is balanced, so we should be good. Yeah, okay, stand by. Okay, I've got the I'm setting up the little indicator. Let's see, hopefully you can see that. Now I roll the engine over a little bit. It's going, so when that chain just about there, and it starts to drop there. And see that mark on the flywheel lining up really closely with the mark on the backing plate. That's top dead center according to the factory. So roll it away, as you can see. Now starts to drop. Yeah, lines up beautiful. So what I'll do is I'll get a marker, and I'll mark that, and I'll mark that, and right on here, TDC, TDC. Not sure what that yellow mark is from. It's historic. So, and the only, see the drill point here? That was drilled in there to balance the flywheel. This is a lightened flywheel in that the back is being machined off. So yeah, there you go. Now what I can do is, when I put the front plate on, the front cover, I can check all the top dead center on that flywheel at the back. So I don't have to put it on, put it off the front pulley, and then trying to work out whether it's pointing at the 0 point, and I've got a permanent on the flywheel and the back plate. Yeah, okay. Well, that's my way anyway. Okay, what I've done is I've marked it in blue, the top dead center. I marked it in blue so I didn't get confused with the historic yellow mark. I'm not sure why that's there, but it is. But the blue mark is what I'm interested in now, to prove top dead center. Just in case you haven't seen one before, this is the jack shaft that goes through that orifice there to a bearing at the back. Okay, that gear there drives the distributor and oil pump. This one here is for the mechanical fuel pump. There's a slight lobe on that shaft. So the as the arm of the fuel pump follows over the that cam, it pumps. This one here is the drive. This one here drives the distributor as well as the oil pump. This one here is the gear for the water pump. But I'm going to have an electric water pump, so I'll use the cage with a plug top and bottom to plug that, because the coolant comes through there, through the rest of the engine, and the bottom plug stops oil. Okay. Just as a by the by, see that little that there is the metering unit for the oil to be pumped up into the overhead gear. They're the metering units. Okay. I've got to be careful with that. I don't really want to drop it. It's a bit hard by hand. So oil comes up that gallery in a sprint engine. I pointed that out. The gasket comes around here and goes up that shaft. That's in the sprint engine. This is the 8-valve engine. So what I'll do is I'll mount the jack shaft. There's a plate that locates it, and the jack shaft sprocket mounts to that. Chain goes around the sprocket, around the camshaft sprocket, and then back down using these guides. So I'm not jumping too far in advance. Now you can see in another video where I pointed out that the TR7 gasket overhangs the edge. If I put a TR7 gasket on here, this is not mounted hard yet, the gasket gets pushed that way, which means all the holes are slightly off center, and the fire ring is not central on the piston. So you just have to be aware of that, and if it is fouling, just grind it off. I pointed it out, but it's a little bit difficult to see. But anyway, you get the idea anyway, I hope. Thanks, bye. Okay, I've fitted the jack shaft. That has a little line across there as part of in the manual to sort of set your timing. It's not hugely critical or anything, but that's what that mark is for. As you can see, these guides, if there's any overhang of the gasket's going to get pushed that way. I've used, I'm going to be using ARP bolts, but I'll use the existing ones as a guide to drop the head, the gasket on and the head on. And then I can put the timing chain out the front. And I don't need to worry too much about the cover with the timing mark on the sprocket, on the pulley, and the timing cover, because I have top dead center, as you remember, located with this blue point there and there. So that's when those 2 points line up, it's at top dead center or with a degree either way. But pretty close, which is what you need. Or better than pretty close. Jeez. Yeah, rightio. Thanks. What I think I'll point out is, do you see how on the end of this is a TR7 gasket, as you can see. I have machined, this is I had some, as you can see, I had an issue between 1 and 2. Christ. I've machined, see how the edge of that is just machined off. Hopefully that comes out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be fitting this sprint head gasket, but I need to cut, because the sprint head gasket comes out much further with the timing cover, because it's got a duplex chain, all of that sort of thing. I'll just cut the end out of this one here to form the gasket around the top of the timing cover. There's no pressure on that, it's just splash. So, but I'll cut this gasket, because the gasket is, I don't think I can buff that out. Yeah, anyway, goodness me.